In the jump from 2D to 3D, a lot of changes were made to video games as an art form. Camera controls became standardized to help acclimate players to 3D spaces, even if I think that fixed cameras should be used more often than they are. Analog controls are a bit of a given, making things not just locked to set directions, but changing in real time with specific inputs on your joystick in a functionally infinite range. However, I think the strangest fixation of 3D games is on breath mechanics. No, seriously, why does every one of these early 3D games have them? While there were games with underwater breathing mechanics before the dawn of 3D, Sonic the Hedgehog's 2D outings being the most famous, I don't think they were nearly as ubiquitous. Classic Sonic is pretty infamous for its water mechanics amongst a slew of games where that's just not something that you have to worry about. Super Mario World's Sunken Ghost Ship? Nope, the Italian guy just breathes underwater. But everything changed when the third dimension came. Now Mario needs bubbles and coins to breathe. And it's like this for a lot of Nintendo 64 era games. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask have underwater breath timers, though in both games you get items that essentially nullify the entire purpose of them, that being the Zora tunic and the ability to just literally transform into a Zora. Banjo-Kazooie, the game that I think is funny to not like, also has one that kinda just apes Super Mario 64's. Sonic kept his tried and true stress-inducing meter as well. It's quite strange that games just decide to have breath meters all of a sudden. I think what ended up happening is that developing for a 3D space meant that it was a bit closer to reality, and thus the developers thought that belief was less able to be suspended. In the 2D space, there is inherently more abstraction going on with how the world operates. I mean, there has to be. Humans simply aren't two-dimensional creatures. So when we enter a 3D space, it's a bit harder to suspend our disbelief. You jump into the water and you think, wait, why isn't Mario dying? Video games are inherently unrealistic because they're video games, but the closer to realistic they get, the more that we tend to notice the disconnect. That's the entire idea behind the Uncanny Valley artwork that looks similar to humans but isn't quite. If Mario didn't drown in Mario 64, then it might disconnect the player from the game world due to how much more a 3D environment feels real than a 2D one. When it happens in Super Mario World, it's a lot easier to write off. And when it comes to Nintendo, one of their priorities when designing games is creating these worlds that you get lost in. Even if I think that they're kind of incompetent in a lot of their titles, I do think that that is a priority from them as a design studio, so I think that's why they added breath to the games more. The quest for realism in games leads to some strange places sometimes. From really garish games to some interesting takes on mechanics, I thought it might be neat to look at just why breath mechanics started to become prevalent when they did. The dawn of 3D gaming was the dawn of many innovations. This has been Arcade Everlasting, who really wants to make a video about how much she dislikes Banjo-Kazooie, but doesn't know how to frame it yet. Signing off. Thank you for watching.